Welcome back. In this training video, we'll explore the sales lead form and learn how to initiate a sales lead. Then we'll discuss the mechanics of FOURA's process-based sales funnel and briefly look at the Browse and Sales Leads form. And we'll finish up by talking about promotion performance using sales leads to validate the results of a marketing promotion. So let's get started. Over the years, FOURA has noticed that a business often overlooks a critical step to sustain growth. That is, they don't define what a sales lead is, or where they come from, or what to do with them. In most instances, the contact information for sales lead contact is written on a post-it, sent to someone via text, an email, or mentioned in a voicemail. All of these are passive ways of communicating and have no mechanism for measurement or accountability. So FOURA believes that it's critical that all employees can identify what a sales lead is and knows what to do with it. And with this point of view, FOURA believes strongly that every employee should feel as if they're an honorary member of the sales team. This subtle change in thinking provides the business a great opportunity to invite personnel into having a hand in growing the business. It also provides an opportunity for the business to recognize your non-sales employees for facilitating new sales leads. The sales lead form in FOURA allows employees to be able to capture key pieces of information as well as any information that the prospect offers about their needs. This allows the sales manager to be able to quickly identify the new sales leads and assign them to an account manager who can then be responsible for the opportunity that is now visible to the business. There are three ways to access the sales lead form. It can be found in the Sales and Pricing main menu, then in the Sales submenu, which displays the Sales Leads menu icon in the functional menu. The form can also be accessed by typing LEA into the menu code area in the FOURA Navigator. Regardless of how you open the form with these two methods, users still need to get a new sales lead form. To do this, select the plus button in the Sales Lead Form header menu. The third way uses a keyboard shortcut. By pressing the F3 button on the keyboard, a new sales lead form appears, allowing an employee to capture a sales lead. As you can see, the sales lead form has 6 tabs, and the Capture tab is the default. So let's start there. There are 5 required fields that need to be entered in order to save the sales lead. These fields are indicated by a yellow triangle that is located to the right of each field. The form header has a standard menu, a quick filter with some predefined queries to help locate existing sales leads by status. There's an attachment button so attachments can be added to sales leads. To learn more about attachments and quick filters, please see the aptly named topics in the FOURA help file. The Create Customer button can only be used once the required information for a sales lead has been entered and saved. This creates a customer record in the customer's form, which is necessary to create a sales order. That's the point when a prospect becomes a customer. You can still quote a prospect without making a customer record. By doing it this way, it retains an accurate list of revenue-generating customers. The title field is a required field. It can be modified later if need be, but for now, it should have some meaning regarding the purpose of the opportunity. The lead date is a current date and can be changed if needed. The company that the user has logged into will be displayed. Now, for most users, this will never deviate. To the right of the company is a sales lead status indicator. This indicator will automatically update the sales lead status as downstream processes occur. Status indicators are bound to a few key sales funnel phases. There's draft, which is gray and means unassigned. There's assigned, which is blue, which means the account manager has been declared. Quoted is teal only if it's released. Ordered is green, paid is purple, and lost is red. Here's a quick tip. When reviewing sales lead status, if the status isn't lost or ordered, then by deduction, the sales lead must still be active. The body of the sales lead form consists of 2 colors, light gray and dark gray. We'll start off by talking about the fields that are in the light gray area. The lead type is chosen from a drop-down menu. This is the second of 5 required fields. These choices focus on the category that aligns with order types. This list is controlled by the possible values list name lead type. The contact method is also selected from a drop-down menu. This is the third of 5 required fields. The contact method simply describes how the sales lead contacted the business. These choices are also controlled from a possible values list named contact method. The referral type is selected from another drop-down menu. If the sales lead comes from a referral, select the type of referral and make a note of the referral source in the summary notes below. The referral type choices are controlled from a possible values list named referral type. Promotions is the next field that can be selected from a drop-down menu. Only active promotions with a green active checkbox will be displayed. The next field is the customer drop-down menu. This is the fourth of the 5 required fields. If the sales lead is from an existing customer, simply select them from the drop-down menu and the address information will populate in the fields below. If the sales lead isn't from an existing customer, we'll refer to them as a prospect. Then you can simply capture the company or individual's name in the company field. Enter the address information into the dedicated address field. To the right is the website field where you can document the company's website. This is helpful when the account manager doesn't have any knowledge of a prospect and wants to learn a little more about them before reaching out. The Contact 1 and Contact 2 fields are aligned with phone numbers, type, and an email address for each contact. The phone number for Contact 1 is a required field, as most account managers will want to call the contact and establish a rapport. The phone type is a drop-down menu that is controlled from a possible values list named Phone Type. The Summary field is a 500-character field that can be used to better define the title. Now let's talk about the fields in the dark gray area of the sales lead form. The assignment of an account manager is crucial to controlling sales performance and managing a sales funnel, something that we'll talk about a little more in just a moment. Select an account manager from the list of active employees. The price book should be selected from a list of active price books. This is generally determined by the sales channel that the prospect aligns with. The price book can be manually changed on the quote or sales order if needed. The sales menu is a preliminary value that can be modified by the assigned account manager during the nurturing process. Oftentimes, we recommend that our customers put in a default average amount based on the lead type and then manage the entry as the conversation with the prospect or customer evolves. The pipeline stage has 3 fields. The first field displays the current sales funnel stage for the sales lead. The next field to the right displays the date that the sales lead changed to the current funnel stage. The field to the right of that displays the number of days since that status change. Think of this as sales funnel aging. This helps sales managers keep on top of events and provides a clearer view of sales activities as they move through FOURA. The decision date is a date selector and moves the sales funnel probability directly to 75% probability. We'll talk about the sales funnel stages in a moment. Account managers shouldn't enter this date until it meets the criteria for doing so. Now let's talk about outcomes. In FOURA, sales leads can either advance to a quote or a sales order or be declined by the client at some point during the sales process. This signifies that the opportunity was lost. If the account manager has quickly developed a rapport with the prospect, they'll understand why the prospect has declined to move forward and why the prospect has decided to look elsewhere. Capturing this rationale at the time of advancement or loss can be useful on a case-by-case basis. However, in aggregate over time, it will likely reveal a trend. Trends that may expose a market advantage or highlight areas where the business can improve. But in order to make this information actionable, it requires the account manager to accurately record the results of each outcome. The outcome drop-down menu is where the account manager can select the following. Opportunities that advance to a quote or sales order could advance on price, due to having the right product offering, or due to sales responsiveness, or by schedule, meaning that your company had the advantage because they could deliver the goods or services when the prospect wanted or needed them. Outcomes that have been lost have similar choices in the drop-down list. Perhaps the prospect wasn't responsive after repeated attempts by the account manager to follow up on the sales lead. Perhaps the opportunity was lost on price. Maybe the product offering just wasn't what they were looking for. Or maybe the decision was based on the client's schedule and they wanted the product or service faster than your business could supply it. Any of these are typical sales activity outcomes that may not be the fault of your sales team despite their face value. What if repeated losses were due to a lack of responsiveness? This doesn't have to imply that your account managers are lazy, but it could imply that your sales team is understaffed or they're not getting access to the necessary information fast enough, all of which can be fixed. The point is, if you give it just a little thought, you'll recognize that this type of approach can help you see the data differently. The next tab is the Questions tab. Oftentimes, the business has a few core questions that they would like to ask in order to help them understand the customer's perspectives and motivations. These can also be qualifying sales questions, but the answers are never documented and reviewed. If the business had this information, it could help the business shape future product developments, investments in inventories, and marketing efforts over time. Account managers can be trained to ask these questions, document the results with the understanding that it will help the business do better and help efforts to attract additional business. More business generally means more commissions, so it's a win-win. Each order type can have its own questions, so that they focus on a specific type of customer to help determine what they're looking for. How fast do they want your products or service to determine what their budget is, what their decision process looks like, or what caused them to leave their current provider. As you can see here, the wholesale questions are different than the questions being asked by a distributor. Setting up questions is an easy 4-step process. The first step is the lead type has to be set up, and it should be, as it's a required field in the Capture tab. The second step is to enter the 4 sales leads questions on the Sales Lead Questions form. The Sales Leads Questions form can be found in the Sales and Pricing main menu, then in the Support sub-menu, which displays the Sales Lead Question menu icon in the functional menu. The form can also be accessed by typing SLQ into the menu code area on the FOURA Navigator. To enter a new sales lead question, select a lead type from the drop-down menu list. Add a sort order if you'd like. The active flag defaults to true. Now we can enter a question that we want our account managers to ask for that specific order type. These questions can be changed at any time, and these will only affect new sales leads. Existing sales questions will remain on the sales leads as they were. Just remember that you can only display up to 4 sales lead questions at any time. The next tab is the Quotes tab. The Quotes tab will display any quotes that are affiliated with the sales lead. Simply select the drill-in symbol next to the quote number to drill into the quote. Like the Quotes tab, the Orders tab will have the same functionality that allows the user to drill into the sales order. Users can add and modify their own notes, but can only view other employee notes. If you're an account manager, we suggest that you enter a lot of notes, especially if you have a long sales cycle. It only takes a minute and your clients will be very impressed that you recall all the details about previous encounters that they may have forgotten. The business will be impressed with your attention to detail and help them better understand the level of effort that sales takes. The Contacts tab functions the same way that Contacts do in other FOURA tab forms. Select the contact type, enter a name, a title, and any other contact information that you need to effectively manage the sales lead. Now I'd like to take a moment to discuss FOURA's process-based sales funnel. Traditional sales funnels shift the bulk of burden onto the account manager, leaving the business exposed to wild swings in probability that often are out of sync with actual business functions and capabilities. We've all seen it, where a sales opportunity lays dormant and then all of a sudden it becomes a rush order. This creates a lot of strain on the business and provides an enormous opportunity for failure. This scenario and many others are remedied when using FOURA's sales funnel, which requires just a few inputs from the account manager, and the rest of the sales funnel is managed through integrated business workflows that would happen anyway when facilitating a quote or a sale. This approach makes the process much more accurate and efficient for everyone involved. FOURA's sales funnel is a fairly typical representation of a typical sales funnel. What's not typical is how FOURA's sales funnel is highly integrated into existing business workflows. Let me explain. There are 8 phases to FOURA's sales funnel. Each are represented by a probability percentage that coincides with a phase name. As the sales lead works its way through the sales process, the sales funnel automatically updates the probability so that sales management always knows the latest status, and accounting can make their assessment on cash flow and inventory values. The creation of a new sales lead is the first step in the sales process. Documenting the sales lead is the next critical step in the sales process that is often missed. A new sales lead has a 0% probability because it's unassigned and the business doesn't have any thorough understanding of who the prospect is. We don't know their needs, their budget, their schedule, their past experiences with us, or anybody else in the market. The sales manager sees the new opportunity and quickly assigns an account manager, which immediately changes the probability from 0 to 10%. Now there is a sales professional on the hook for pursuing this sales lead, which has now entered the pre-qualification phase. When the account manager contacts the prospect, the business may have some qualifying questions that could help them assess the customer's past experiences and immediate and future needs. This is the qualification phase, and documenting the answers to the questions pushes the sales funnel probability to 25%. The next step for the account manager may be to provide the prospect with a quote. When preparing a quote, the sales lead is selected from the active list of sales leads. When the quote is released, FOURA automatically advances the probability to 40%, which is the solution design phase. If there's a revised quote, this means that the business is gaining a much better understanding of the prospect's needs and places us squarely in the evaluation phase. The prospect is fine-tuning their needs and evaluating their options. This moves us to a 60% probability. Keep in mind, none of the above advances in probability were done manually. These phases all advanced automatically in FOURA while the business was taking care of the customer. Occasionally, the prospect may declare that they really like your quote, but they need to consult with someone else, like a spouse or a business partner, before making the purchase. The account manager can simply update the promise date in the sales lead to the date offered as the decision date. Setting a decision date advances the probability to 75%. The account manager should also add the decision date to their schedule as a reminder. At the same time, the account manager should also have made several notes on the sales lead form supporting the activity, decision process, and key factors into reaching a decision. The account manager should follow up on the prospect on the decision date to determine if they need any other information to support the decision process. When the prospect comes back and says they want to buy your goods, the account manager can advance the sales quote to a sales order with a push of a button. The sales order can be created, thus preparing a sales invoice for release. When the sales invoice is released, the probability automatically advances to the negotiation phase at 90%. FOURA believes that the account manager should remain engaged with the customer, since they have invested their time and skill to forge the customer relationship. The sales funnel will remain at 90% probability until full payment has been received and allocated. Occasionally, a good customer will miss paying an invoice, and it may be advantageous for an account manager to engage with the customer to secure a timeline for payment. Once payment is received and allocated to the sales invoice, the probability automatically moves to 100% and is considered sold. Now let's take a moment to introduce the Browse Sales Leads form. The Browse Sales Leads form can be found on the Sales and Pricing main menu, then in the Sales submenu, which displays the Browse Sales Leads menu icon in the functional menu. The form can also be accessed by typing BLE into the menu code area of the FOURA Navigator. The Browse Sales Leads form has the same status fields as the Sales Lead form does. However, this becomes really powerful with the use of quick filters. This allows account managers and sales managers to identify any dormant opportunities that might need to be revisited. Please see videos on the Browse form and the column chooser in order to leverage the Browse Sales Leads form. Lastly, I'd like to talk about the correlation between marketing promotions and sales leads. As we all know, promotions are a marketing expense, and a healthy business should expect any expense to contribute to a positive return. An obvious way to measure the ROI of a marketing expense is to measure the amount of revenue that was generated from it. A not so obvious but powerful measurement is to measure the number of sales leads that were generated from the effort as well. We believe that correlation between sales and sales leads are a key element that needs to be understood to justify the marketing expense in a business revenue plan. To better understand these relationships, the business needs to be able to determine a few key bits of information. 1. What is this average sale amount for every order type? 2. How many sales does the business need by order type in order to meet the targeted revenue amount? And 3. What is the conversion rate for sales leads to sales orders by order type? This information will provide us a better understanding and help us determine how many leads we need in order to generate enough revenue to meet the target. A simplistic exercise looks like this. Let's say that we have a revenue target of $100,000 for order type A. We've looked back at the last 2 years of sales and have determined that the average sale for order type A is $2,500. We also know that we need 3 sales leads to get 1 sales order. That's a 33% sales lead to sales order conversion rate. So the question is, how many leads do you need to reach $100,000 in revenue? $100,000 divided by a $2,500 average sale amount is 400 sales. To achieve 400 sales with a 33% conversion rate, you need 1,212 sales leads. FOURA's sales lead form and process-based sales funnel provides the business real-time status and offers several ways to evaluate sales histories and to measure progress for each order type. It is essential for growing businesses to manage sales leads in order to achieve their goals for customer satisfaction and revenues. Having processes that provide real-time status and insight will provide an entirely new perspective on your messaging, processes, and outcomes. Well, that wraps up this tutorial. Please be sure to check out additional tutorials to learn more about FOURA's powerful features, processes, and tips. Thanks for watching.